From the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for the debate.
Good evening, my dear viewers, and welcome. This morning at 10:30 a.m., the Supreme Court of India delivered the much-awaited judgment in my case. The Supreme Court of India said that prima facie, in its view, the FIR that the Uddhav government placed against me does not establish an offence. I repeat, does not establish an offence under Section 306 of the Indian Penal Code. Now, this is not a small matter, ladies and gentlemen. For the Supreme Court of India says that prima facie it cannot be said. It cannot be said that I am guilty under the meaning of Section 306 of the Indian Penal Code. This is a major observation in my view, ladies and gentlemen, because consider it together with the fact that on the day of my arrest, that night, after hearing the matter for more than 10 hours, at 11:30 p.m., the Chief Judicial Magistrate in Alibag, in her court, said that in her learned view, my arrest itself was illegal. So consider it together with the fact that I was assaulted in my own home. Consider it together with the fact that I was therefore without reason, without fact, without a disregard for the law, moved from jail to jail and targeted for the delight of Maharashtra's political masters. And consider in this context, and consider it this judgment of the Supreme Court, which, ladies and gentlemen, I hold in my hand today. This 55-page judgment will now go into history as case law for all future generations of this country. Viewers, today is a historic day and it is a historic victory. So many of you viewers are contacting our network offices in Delhi and Mumbai and across all our capital cities of the country to express both your relief and your anger. I am grateful to you. You are relieved that the Supreme Court has vindicated us. And many of you, from your phone calls, messages and calls, are angry at the fact that now it is clear to all of us that my arrest, my imprisonment, my illegal incarceration, the continued incarceration of many of my colleagues, everything is wholly and completely illegal. It is a mutilation of the law and the Constitution. And therefore, viewers, let me take the liberty of reading from paragraph 61 of this historic Supreme Court judgment, which says, and I quote, "The doors of this court cannot be closed to a citizen who is able to establish prima facie that the instrumentality of the state is being weaponized for using the force of criminal law." The court says, and I continue, that our courts must ensure that they continue to remain the first line of defense against the deprivation of the liberty of citizens. And so I say to you, viewers, that the vengeance, the malice on an unparalleled state of the state government in Maharashtra and its cohort of favorite police officers has been exposed completely and unforgivably by the Supreme Court of India. And therefore I say to their lordships, I bow down to you in gratitude. I bow down to the Supreme Court of the country in gratitude. And to you, my dear viewers, I bind myself in fraternal solidarity for your support. And I have something to say to my persecutors as well. And therefore I say to my persecutors, to those who have made it their professional obsession to target Republic, I challenge them most humbly, but I do challenge any one of them to a debate on the principles of law in a civilized society. For if any of them felt that dragging me out of my own house, this ukhad diya attitude will take them anywhere, let me tell them today where it will take them. It will take them to the dungeons of public deprecation. It will take my persecutors to the darkest corners of public shame. And it will take them to the solitude of public rejection. That is my prophecy. That the Supreme Court of India has said today, and I quote them again, with the deepest of respect to their lordships. And I quote the words that Justice Chandrachud today read out: deprivation of liberty, even for a single day, is one day too many. I agree entirely with every word of the Supreme Court. That even as I can only offer them my deepest thanks, I would say without the slightest attempt at dramatization that if I had to spend one more day, one more week, one more month in jail, or even one more year with 4,000 other inmates at the Taloja jail, I would, if only I were to know that the focus around the injustice that I was subject to would result in a judgment so beautiful, so historic, and so vast, and so impactful. And I want to say something more on a personal note tonight. I thank my family, my source of strength, my colleagues, my partners at the Republic Media Network. I thank them for their strength they have given me, and to all of you, and especially tonight, to one man who has stood by me in my toughest of times. A man who doesn't charge me a single rupee, but who fights for me and for justice for all of us with all his heart. A man whose wisdom, depth, nationalism, and knowledge make him an icon of the legal world today. Mr. Harish Salve, I shall forever be grateful to you for all that you have done for Republic. Forever grateful. So let the debates begin now, viewers. We have just two debates tonight. Two straight debates, two deep conversations. Debate number one tonight on this historic judgment by the Supreme Court. And that is our first debate this evening. And debate number two this evening at 10 o'clock. The farmers' protest, we're tracking it. The politics over the farmers' protest, and why now, at some point, the violence must end. All this and more is coming up, and here are the headlines. This Friday evening on the debate tonight. The 55-page Supreme Court judgment on my case takes cognizance of state vendetta. The historic verdict of the Supreme Court sets a precedent, says the state cannot weaponize the law for harassment. The court says prima facie no case is made out under section 306 No cases made out prima facie. Team Republic deeply grateful for the Supreme Court for a judgment that upholds justice. Violent clashes at the Haryana border for the second day, even as the centre allows the Delhi march. The Modi government invites farmers for a dialogue to trash the misinformation around the Farm Act. And our politicians piggybacking on farmers to fight the government. Big debate at 10 tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply grateful to the Supreme Court tonight for setting a precedent on personal liberty. The detailed 55-page judgment by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice Indira Banerjee is a loud message for those trying to subvert the legal process for wrongful targeting and incarceration by the means of state-sponsored weaponization of criminal law. Here are the highlights of the verdict, and then we shall debate.
Principal rule of law abused.
Wait, I'm not record this. No.
Instrument of spitefulness.
They're physically assaulting Arnab.
Without shoes here today.
Yes, you are without shoes.
I'm without shoes because
it's against a Supreme Court order.
Yeah.
Machinery of malice.
I've been assaulted. This is the injury on my arm.
Mechanism of malafide intent.
Who injured you, Arnab?
It was Pradeep Patil and Sachin Vaze.
Pushed and assaulted this morning.
Abuse of state power.
मैं भारत की जनता को कह रहा हूँ, मेरे जान को खतरा है. भारत माता की वंदे!
For 8 days, Arnab was incarcerated in jail. The Supreme Court, which granted relief to Arnab, has issued the detailed judgment today.
The Supreme Court, while pronouncing the judgment, has clearly stated doors of the court have always to be opened when it comes to instrumentality of the state misusing criminal law. Adding to this, they've said the High Court has abdicated its constitutional duty. They should have been the protectors of liberty. Finally, they said the use of criminal law in such cases when it becomes a weapon has to be seen.
The judgment of the Supreme Court bench, comprising Justice Chandrachud and Justice Indira Banerjee, has raised questions on the state and the police while vindicating Team Republic.
Harish Salve has stood by me because he believes in the freedom of expression and he has not charged me a single rupee. But the fact that he fought like a almost in a fraternal spirit, you are someone who will be remembered in history.
In a 6.5-hour marathon hearing in the Supreme Court, winning the case for Arnab Goswami, top legal eagle Harish Salve told the Supreme Court Arnab Goswami was being targeted. He said the CJM's order clearly said arrest was not needed, re-investigation was not proper. He went on to say 20 to 30 armed policemen had reached Arnab's house for arrest. He also went on to say this is a smoke screen to teach someone manners. He spoke about the interference of the state and said this is malice in fact, also questioned the Home Minister and how this entire case was actually raked up.
Republic is grateful to the highest court of the country for upholding media rights. The historic judgment will serve as a case law for all future generations. The lessons for the state tonight are many. Let's debate.
This detailed, impactful and poignant judgment of the Supreme Court spans 55 pages and 68 paragraphs. It is not just a vindication for me personally, it is a victory, I believe, for the Republic Media Network. It is not even just limited to reinforcing the freedom of the press, but it will have a vast impact on every citizen of this country. I welcome all my guests, Rahul Narvekar, Ranjit Kumar, Pinky Anand, KK Mannan, Ishkaran Bhandari, Savio Rodriguez, Saurabh Shukla, Geeta Luthra, PK Jain and Asghar Khan. Thank you all very much for joining me. I would like to start by asking Ranjit Kumar sir that we are on a very important point to start with. Maybe you'd like to start the debate with Geeta Luthra. Ranjit Kumar, the Supreme Court heard the matter in detail for over 6 or 7 hours. argued by Kapil Sibal on one side and by Mr. Harish Salve on the other. The Supreme Court therefore makes very informed arguments looking upon the merits of the case. The Supreme Court has said today that there is no prima facie, there is no ingredient of offence under section 306 of the Indian Penal Code. And the Supreme Court further says it cannot be said that the appellant, with a reference to me, is guilty within the meaning of section 306 of the Indian Penal Code. And I am therefore very baffled as a citizen of India. I ask you, sir, why was I arrested? Why was I taken to one jail? Why was I then shifted to another jail? I have no qualms. I mean, I just am asking you as one citizen, what was this all about then? And what is the punishment for those who have therefore clearly violated the due process of law, Mr. Kumar?
Well, Arnab, first of all, I must congratulate you on a historic verdict today. And I have gone through the judgment very carefully. And paragraphs 60, 61 and 62, plus the Lord Denning's dictum and Justice Krishna Iyer's dictum, that bail is the thing and not jail, is very, very important in our society. So you have paved the way for very many other people to also to be able to get this precedent law in their favor, who are languishing in jails for very, very, very many years. Now, coming back to your question, I would only like to say that the police acted high-handedly, and the series of acts that had been committed, you or your channel in the past, has been clearly analyzed by the court to say that the police acted high-handedly. But then I must preface also by saying that it is all a prima facie view, and the court has left it to the High Court to decide your Article 226 and 482 petition. But the court is emphatic that the liberty of a citizen is of prime importance, and that liberty cannot be compromised with. So therefore, the action of the police was wrong, in my humble opinion.
Absolutely. I look at the para 50.
Hello.
That prima facie, the FIR does not establish ingredients of an offence. Prima facie, the court says on a second time, it cannot be said that the appellant is guilty of abetment. It says a third time, Geeta Luthra, very, very clear observations, repeated multiple times in the course of the order, that the prima facie, again the court says, does not establish the ingredients of section 302 of the Indian Penal Code. Now, these are very important matters if taken in conjunction with the big observations of the Supreme Court on the campaign of malice. Yes, 306, sir. So then, you know, the Supreme Court also then take cognizance of our submission that the appellant was made the target of a series of occurrences since April 2020, and that it is the duty of the court to ensure that criminal law does not become a weapon for selective harassment. I mean, Geeta Luthra, there has to be a limit to persecution. This is the broad point being made here by the court.
You're absolutely right. Fact is that 306 cannot be used as a weapon in this manner. And there you cannot link a person's suicide in this manner to an abetment where the law is very clear that there has to be instigation. There has to be something immediate. So according to various judgments, including a very recent judgment, Gurcharan, which was on 20th October this year, the Supreme Court has time and again said that this cannot amount to abetment to suicide. Law and the parameters are clear, and to my mind, we are very fortunate to get a judgment like yours because it will stand to vindicate many persons who want to come to the court under 482, and the court has been very, very categorical that 482 would come in where prima facie no case is made out. So, to my mind, we are very fortunate to have such a judgment, and clearly it's a vindication that the FIR seems to be looked at. It's not at all palatable.
May I on a lighter note express my fear tonight to you, Geeta. My fear tonight, and Pinky will understand where I'm coming from, that the natural format of my debate, to have 2 points of views may not actually come into effect. So you better disagree with each other on something. Otherwise, people will think the format of the debate has changed. I also welcome into the debate Rhythm Anand Bhardwaj, are very, 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 very vocal, very efficient, and very, I would say, very detailed executive editor legal. Geeta, I would request Rhythm to take the discussion forward, perhaps hoping that there will be a disagreement between Pinky Anand and PK Jain. Mr. Jain, you can afford to smile. I know that you have been valiantly defending the indefensible acts of the Mumbai police for some time now, but you can take a rest from that job tonight. Rhythm, I take it back to you. I raised the question of 306. That if there was no case, then what was this all about? What are the points come before your attention right now? No problem, sir. Yeah, Rhythm, over to you. Rhythm.
Let's tell our viewers, Arnab, first, a very good evening. Very good evening to all the lawyers, esteemed panelists, Arnab, everybody who's joining us on the debate. And today, like we've been saying for the longest time, is a victory for India because it's a landmark judgment. Miss Pinky Anand knows it, Miss Geeta Luthra knows it, because this is a judgment that is clearly talking and paving the way for liberty. Liberty is the one thing that we can see written, slashed across this judgment. But the second thing that's very clear, and this is for all the panelists who know this, they're also talking about the prima facie merits of the abetment of suicide case. The one thing that they start talking about, and for me this is the most important point, it's very clearly been mentioned in para 55 and 56 that there is nothing on merits that can be said that shows that Arnab Goswami had anything to do that could be seen under section 306 to be abetment of suicide. It starts and ends there. Because if there is nothing, the second observation that has been made by the top court, and I'm going to go across to our panelists after this, is they've said the instrumentality of the state cannot be used for a force, as a criminal law force, as a weapon to ensure that there are selective harassment that happens of citizens. And that is what really happened here. Yes, the third point that has been said by the Supreme Court today, which is going to go down, viewers, as a great message. The doors of the Supreme Court are always to be open when a citizen is told that criminal law is being misused against him or her, and then the doors of this court will always be there. Ms. Pinky Anand, we've obviously spoken about this. You've seen what's been happening here. We've also got another panelist here, Mr. DK Jain is here, who's earlier disagreed with us, but today, on one point we all agree, liberty is paramount. On the other point, the top court has clearly said 306 is not made out here, Mr. Jain.
There have been contrarian views on this. Mr. Arnab Goswami and his advocates had gone to various courts. They had gone to the Honorable High Court. They went to the Honorable Supreme Court. So there are contrarian views there also. Similarly, as far as the implementation of law is concerned, Section 306, how it would have been dealt by me or by any other police officer.
The Supreme Court is the highest court of the country. Sir, I hope you agree that the Supreme Court is the highest court of the country.
Absolutely.
Unless you believe that the Mumbai police can have a different view on that as well.
No. I'm not talking about that.
If you disrespect the Supreme Court, because I want to tell you, Mr. Jain, without the slightest attempt. No. You can debate with Pinky, but I want to tell you one thing tonight. I want to make one simple observation tonight. Sir, I want to make one observation, then you can fight with Pinky Anand on the subject. So 1 minute. There is a feeling today among some police officers in our country. There is a feeling among some police officers that they can stretch the limits of illegality by using technical points. That because they wear the uniform, they say, I have a right to use technicalities to attack and abuse you. I have to please my political masters, and I will arm myself with technical points to please my political masters. Sir, tonight's judgment is a slap in the face of those people. Please understand. It's a slap in the face of those people. Rahul Narvekar wants to come in also. 1 minute. Rahul, I think, Rahul, you want to come in. No, Rahul can debate with you on this. Please, sir.
What's the point of my sitting
Don't abuse the law anymore, sir.
If you don't allow me
Don't abuse the law anymore, sir. It's a warning to all of you, sir. Don't do this.
There's no, unless you allow me
No, I allow you to speak. I allow you to speak. I allow you to speak.
Uninterruptedly,
This is not,
I will not be able to sit
this
on
is
this
not,
discussion.
this is not the crime branch where nobody is allowed to speak.
Though you are not allowing me to speak.
No, please speak.
You allowed me only 2 sentences and immediately you jumped in.
I'm allowing you to speak. You're protesting too much.
You don't have to, Arnab, you don't have to tell me that Supreme Court is the highest court in the country. I appreciate that. What I was only saying is that there is always a difference of opinion in the view taken by various courts. Similarly, there is a difference of view taken by various police officers. Now, if one particular police officer takes a view that how an assembly can be reopened, another officer can certainly have a second view. So what I was trying to say is that the case was reopened. It was put before a court. The court took
On the
a view.
basis
You
of
went to
some
the higher
fact,
court. You went to the
because
highest
the Home
court.
Minister says open the case? Because you are not comfortable with the Sushant Singh Rajput coverage? What are you saying? Rahul Narvekar wants to counter you, sir. 1 minute. Rahul Narvekar first, and then Pinky Anand. 1 minute. 1 minute. Sir, you also be rational and listen to the other side, sir. Sir, please listen to the other side, sir. Today is a day when you need to show a little bit of tolerance for the other perspective. Thank you, sir.
Arnab, at the outset, I would like to welcome this landmark judgment by the Honorable Supreme Court of India. It's a respite to every Indian who, as per the letter of the law, has got all the guarantees of liberty. But the spirit is not being followed by the law enforcing agencies. And
What about the courts?
And let me complete. And least by the executive.
Comes down to the law enforcement agencies only. What about the courts? Here the entire judgment is about the courts, about how the High Court looked at the whole thing.
Let me complete. I can understand your plight. It is very difficult.
Agencies, will you please also comment on the role of the courts? Everything was subjected to the CJM. Everything was subjected to the Honorable High Court. Then you only say that law enforcement agencies. What is law enforcement agencies
The
alone?
CJM said the arrest was illegal. Didn't you know that? Didn't the Chief Judicial Magistrate say that the arrest was illegal? Are you not aware of that? Are you pretending you don't know?
Did he afford you any relief?
Are you pretending you don't know? Are you pretending you don't know the views of the CJM on the matter? Sir, you were not in court, I was. Please don't mutilate the words of the CJM and allow Rahul Narvekar to speak. Sir, I know it's a bad day for you. It's okay.
Arnab, having said this, let me tell you
it's a lesson
that the Supreme Court has, in absolutely clear terms, expressed their view with regards to the personal liberties which have been guaranteed under the Constitution to every citizen. And I think this is a very, very welcome judgment. With regards to the final outcome of your writ petition under Article 226 and quashing petition under 482, I think these are issues which are rightly to be dealt with by the High Court, because what was challenged by the appellant, which is you, is the interim or ad interim relief which was not granted by the High Court.
Yes.
And the Supreme Court has rightly said that the High Court should have, while passing a judgment, should have taken into account the factor about personal liberty. They should have evaluated the case where they have clearly said that there is no case made out for 306. There is no abatement aspect involved in this matter. And therefore, if the High Court could come to a conclusion like this in a couple of hearings, there was no reason for if the Supreme Court could come to such a conclusion, there was no reason for the High Court to differ on this or to make up a mind otherwise.
So, I agree with you, sir.
So having said that, I think
is the point. That is the point.
This is a very firm message sent by the apex court to the lower judiciary. Number one, personal liberty is paramount and cannot be compromised at any cost. Number two, Section 30, legislation pertaining to Section 306 has to be interpreted in its right form and should not be misused to harass innocent citizens. And this is a very, very important fact, which is going to give relief to a number of people who are languishing in prison. Having said that, I think people who have been defending, who
Yeah,
has been...
I also...
you know,
No, I think we need to... I would like... I just want to... I take your point. You know, if our dear guests look at the order in detail, I would request Rhythm to read out para 60 before going to Pinky Anand. Sorry to keep you waiting, ma'am. And KK Manan also on the debate. Ishkaran, sorry, take my time tonight going into detail. Para 60, please. Mr. Manan, please pay note. Para 60 is a very pertinent observation which Rhythm will now read out about how courts must be alive to the misuse of criminal law.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Arnab, this is something very critical here because we need to pinpoint this is not only about liberty, which Justice Chandrachud and Justice Banerjee have spoken about. The larger picture, they speak about the merits of the case and prima facie observations come in. And to everyone who's disagreeing, we need to understand that a prima facie observation from the top court of the country in such a matter is very serious because it comes after analysis of 7 judgments. These analysis shows that they say that there is no inkling, there is a complete disconnect between what has been said in the FIR and what is being said with the 306 charge. Para 60 is so crucial because our senior advocate, Mr. Hari Salve in the court has said, and this is not the only hearing he said case after case is being filed since April 2020 and this is being filed only because the genesis lies in Palghar. In April 2020, Arnab was targeted for the first time. It says, and I'm going to read out what Para 60 says because it shows the Supreme Court today has taken note of all the cases that are surrounding Republic TV and Arnab. It says the High Court could not but have been cognizant of the specific ground which was raised before it by Arnab that he was being made a target as a part of a series of occurrences which have been taking place since April 2020. It's very clear that
so the issue is of malice, Rhythm. So therefore I need to point out on a simple, let me say it as a layman, the issue is, Pinky, you don't like someone, you don't like their views, you feel threatened by a media organization, you don't like a journalist, you cannot go after them. The court says, and I quote while handing over to you, that Supreme Court doors cannot be closed where prima facie instrumentality of state is being weaponized. Very important observation. What does it mean, Pinky? Can you explain it to all our viewers?
Arnab, you have been the torch bearer and I'm afraid that you have gone one step further and a few notches further rather with this judgment in hand and being a torch bearer. You're the torch bearer of a few features today of unnecessary and malicious and vindictive harassment, of using prosecution conveniently for malicious purposes and to victimize individuals for reasons best known to the prosecutors alone, definitely not founded in law. The judgment of the Supreme Court is a rap in the knuckle for the High Court. The Supreme Court could have gone further and actually given the entire judgment but left it because of possibly propriety to the High Court to give the final judgment. But what more can you have? 3 judgments cited by the Supreme Court saying abetment to suicide not made out, a tool used to only victimize and harass, emphasizing the liberty of an individual, particularly yours. As I said, you are the torchbearer of everybody who goes around. You may be liked, you may not be liked, but you definitely cannot be put behind bars and you will be heard come what may. I mean, these are some of the very erudite messages that have been sent down by the Supreme Court, and I think it is one of the most historic occasions. You might have been in jail, Arnab, but you vindicated not only yourself but the entire community and liberty by itself.
Well, that's very kind of you, Pinky Anand, to say that. Mr. Manan, there are people who are looking at this, and I want to point out to you, Mr. Manan, that even now, Ishkaran, Saurabh, Mr. Manan, those who have not spoken, Savio, the fact is, I want to tell you, viewers, as I report this to you tonight, it pains me deeply to say that our Assistant Vice President Ghanshyam Singh is in Taloja jail. He has been there for 17 days. Still today, we went and applied for bail 4 days back. They said we have to take him on an identification parade. I'm not passing a comment on the observations of the judge. I'm not making a negative comment. I'm simply reporting the fact. And today we went back for bail. and his family is concerned. We went back for bail, and the police said again, we need to do an identification parade. And then the court said, we give you 3 days. And then there are 4 days, there are 3-day holidays, which means the next hearing for my dear colleague Ghansham happens after 8 days. I pray today somewhere for reason to happen that today you have a professional in Talaja jail in a case where a charge sheet has been filed, so there are no grounds to even interrogate the individual. He just will continue in jail. We've been accused, Mr. Mannan, of Hawala operations. The CJM said my arrest was illegal. The Supreme Court says no case is made out. 100, 200, 300, 400,000 journalists today have an effective FIR against them in a draconian case. I don't know. I mean, I feel somewhere that, yes, Pinky is right saying you've been vindicated. But is there some rule of malicious prosecution that should begin to apply in a country like this? I'd like to go to Mr. Mannan first. Mr. Mannan, malicious prosecution, isn't this malicious prosecution at its most evident?
I'll come on that also. First of all, I would like to say and start from that you were innocent and you are innocent in the eyes of the society in this country, not only in this country, but in the eyes of the whole world. But today, with this landmark judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court, put a seal that Arnab Goswami was and is an innocent person and he was falsely implicated by Maharashtra government in this case. Number two, in fact, Supreme Court should have passed and should have gone little bit more, because when the CJM observed in the open court that there was no ground to arrest you, he should have released you there and then. Thereafter, if he did not release you, then in your absence on your channel, I said the Honorable High Court has ample power under Article 226 and under Section 482 CRPC, and they should have released Arnab Goswami immediately after observing the remarks and grounds seen by the learned CJM. Anyway, that era is over, that period is over, but I congratulate you that you have brought a judgment. It will be used and it will be for the society in the future, the people who will not be now arrested like you. Innocent people, they may be arrested, but they will not be arrested. Now there is a judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court. Another thing which I would like to say, that every case has its own merits, own facts, but your case was an exception. Everybody knows that Maharashtra government is, now I'm using the word enemy of Arnab Goswami and Arnab Goswami's institution, that is your channel. Very simple, in your absence while you were in jail, not me only, lot of my colleagues, lot of people. I am missing today, though I will say that Harish Salve himself is an institution in our fraternity, like Ram Jethmalani. I'm missing him today. He would have also appeared for you pro bono. I offered, even Pinky ji and Geeta ji, they would have also done the same thing for you. We all were with you and are with you in the future also. We are required, the journalist, fearless journalists like you in this society, and we don't, and you should not afraid. One thing more, don't stop it here. Please go for compensation, and if the compensation will be awarded, then it should be taken from the pocket of the person who has ordered for your arrest in this case.
Well, I thank you very much, sir. I thank you for your offer. I thank you for your support. I know you mean it kindly and I know you mean it well. Now I'd like to bring in Savio, Saurabh, just to go beyond just the legal aspect. Asghar Khan, you are there. You can have an open debate. I will start with one question. If anyone were to ask the Mumbai police or the Maharashtra chief minister today, what happened? What did you do? Swapnil Kothari is there. Swapnil, these are debates we must ask. If someone were to ask the Maharashtra Chief Minister or the Mumbai Police Commissioner or someone today, what happened? What did you do? Are you not answerable? What would they say? Is there no answerability in this country?
Arnab,
I look back on the events of the last few months, from the acid attack on me in March, April, which was not investigated, to now.
Arnab, there is a pattern of harassment here. Pattern that has been followed, and following this landmark judgment, I would also say that Honorable Supreme Court should also go further, because they have set a precedent of sorts which will help the whole, as Manan Saab said, in the future cases as well. But the larger issue is, what about strictures against police officers, all those guilty in making sure that you were behind bars? Those things should be brought in as well.
Asghar Khan,
the action has to be taken, because at the end of the day, we are in a democracy. The rule of law has to be upheld in a democracy. Only when fearless journalism can flourish, if
we all are bound
action
to
is taken,
obey the order
not
of
stop it.
any court, lower court, high court, as well as the apex court.
No.
We are bound to obey. We are bound to accept.
Sir, you should go and see the
but on the other hand,
it's a slap on the face of Maharashtra government as well.
My opinion may differ from the verdict of the court.
Order in letter and spirit.
That is
what does
different.
It tell you? It tells you that clearly
you raised one question about your arrest,
that is
whether it was legal or illegal. In my view,
this is a
Arnab,
of no
it was a legal arrest.
They are
Since the complaint was pending
this is
with the police, and police was doing investigation, ultimately police was found
I want to know.
guilty.
No, I show these pictures. I want these pictures shown. I want to know. I want to know. No, I'm sorry. I will show the pictures tonight. I want the pictures to be shown. I'm sorry, Asghar, I demand an answer tonight. I demand an answer tonight on my channel. I demand an answer. I demand an answer from the people who did this to us. I have every right to demand an answer. No, I'm asking you, Asghar. I'm asking you, I demand an answer. Why was I physically assaulted? Why was I beaten? Why was I assaulted? Why did these people do this? And what game did they think they were playing? Who are they answerable for? What about the malicious prosecution? What about the physical assault? What about the incarceration? And why should I not ask? Why should I not ask? Why should I not ask? I ask you today, Asghar, one question, simple. Simple question, listen.
What is
it? My house was surrounded. I'm telling you that my house was surrounded. They came looking for me. Please let me complete. Don't stop me today. Don't stop me, Asghar, and do not interrupt me. Do not interrupt me. Do not interrupt me. We are fearless. I don't give a damn to people who want to use force to stop us. But I am asking today, Asghar, do not speak over me. I am asking today, I'm requesting all police personnel, please do not follow instructions that are illegal. Do not follow instructions that are unlawful. You are sworn to uphold the Constitution, and while there may be some policemen, please do not do things that are illegal. My question is this, hear my comment in entirety, and I am telling you today, please, Asghar, listen here, Asghar. We are all sworn to protect the Constitution. We are sworn to protect the rule of law. We are bound by the Constitution. We cannot be bound by political masters. We are sworn by the Constitution. Savio, let no one think that they're above the law.
I agree with you, Arnab.
And what happened between the 4th and the 12th, that is the simple point we're asking, and people think we'll be quiet. Should I open the phone lines tonight? You want to hear tonight what people think? Savio, these illegalities.
Arnab,
and today my Harish Salve said that the ground raised by the appellant was that he was made the target of a series of occurrences in April 2020 since Palghar. Savio, over to you.
Arnab, we must understand that what happened to you and the Republic team was nothing but police terrorism and fascism in full flow. The Supreme Court judgment today is historic and a landmark judgment not only for you and the Republic team but for journalists all over the country and for citizens all over India. Because what the Supreme Court is telling the people of India, that no matter how malicious a government is, no matter how vindictive a police force is, the Supreme Court of India will uphold the Constitution and the personal liberty of every citizen of India. And that is a huge victory. So any pontificating person who tries to support the Maharashtra government and the Mumbai police needs to have a look in the mirror, because right now you've got a tight slap on your face by the apex court. You know what the apex court is telling you? Do your job with honesty. Do your job with the truth and stop harassing innocent and truthful journalists. So have a look in the mirror and you will see a tight slap across your face by the apex court.
Any lessons learned, PK Jain?
Very good sentences to be spoken on the TV.
Any lessons learned, PK Jain?
See, Arnab,
any lessons learned?
Extremely wonderful sentences as well.
By the prima facie observations of the Supreme Court, you say you're a lawyer?
If you are interested in them, I will personally call you and give you my sentences.
Ishkaran and PK Jain on the screen right now. Two people on the screen at one time. Calm down, everyone.
The police put their view before the CJM. The police put their view before the
Just 1 minute.
High Court.
Everyone calm.
Whatever order had to be given was given.
Okay.
So with
now,
the
Arnab, can I...
tight slap or things like that, it's all good to speak on the TV.
Sir, what are you defending? Swapnil Kothari. No. Who would like to come in? Ishkaran, no, Swapnil has not spoken. I'd like...
By producing people before the court. Then the court...
1 minute. I am getting Ishkaran... 1 minute. Without disturbance, I'm putting your fader down because I will read out. 1 minute. Ishkaran. I want for a moment to look at the observations of the Supreme Court of India. And I want to tell you the arguments of senior advocate Harish Salve in the Supreme Court, Swapnil Kothari.
Yeah.
He said the case of appellant is that he has been targeted because his opinions on his TV channel are unpalatable to authority. Swapnil, I invite your attention to para 60, where this point has been quoted. Harish Salve argued the rule is bail, not jail. Harish Salve argued that Arnab had been made a target of vendetta by the state government. And I want tonight, let the pictures be shown of the incarceration, the attack, the assault. I'm telling you, every time I see those pictures, I used to be angry. Swapnil.
Yeah.
I used to be angry. It doesn't anger me anymore. It makes me more determined. I want these pictures to be shown full frame before you come back to your comment. Let the pictures be shown. Let the pictures be shown of how Arnab's house was surrounded with 100 weapons, 100 weaponized people. How people were not. Let the pictures be shown tonight. Let people remember what I say to you tonight. This is the way they surrounded my house. I shall speak over the pictures. And this was an attempt at intimidation. I have been told even now my house in Mumbai is surrounded. This is the way I was pulled out of my house. This is the way they held my belt. This officer held my belt and pulled me out. When I said I will wear my shoes, they said you will not wear your shoes. He said we will give you magnificent treatment in our police station. They said we will give you magnificent treatment in our police station. Viewers, they filed 353 on me and my family, my wife and my son. They assaulted me and then accused me of assault. They dragged me. They physically assaulted me in the process. They thought they could intimidate me. They cannot. And I feel today strengthened by the protection of the Supreme Court, because the entire attempt, Swapnil, was to try and show to the people of India that should you try to speak up like Arnab or the Republic Network, we can do this to him and we can do this to any of you. We can do this to any of you. We can enter anywhere, pull you out, drag you out, beat you, assault you, threaten you, misuse the law, put 1,000 sections against you, and then think that we will get away with it. We can kick you in and out and we will get away with it. I thank the Supreme Court, Swapnil, for sending a message that you cannot get away with it. But I truly believe in my heart we need a law for malicious prosecution of this kind. There needs to be punishment for those who do this. Swapnil.
Yes, Arnab, you definitely have the rights even now to go ahead to the High Court. I would suggest go to the High Court because that's where the case stemmed out from, and ask for, because that's the highest court in the state, and you can ask for compensation, as I said earlier, and there could be strictures passed. And especially when the Hansa's case is tied up, along with the TRP case, or even this particular case, in this case comes up, you can always go ahead and ask for compensation for the harassment that you have faced. That's your rights within the law. The most important part here, Arnab, there are 2 points. One is Section 306, ingredients have not been made out. And that is what the High Court should have taken the cognizance of, and that is a clear mandate from the Supreme Court right there. In fact, it is paving the way for quashing of your case, because if the highest court of the land says, regardless of the contrarian view of the High Court, if the Supreme Court of India comes to a conclusion and says that if prima facie there are no ingredients made out for Section 306, then it is definitely paving the way for quashing of that case, because if there is no connection between the suicide of the victim and the accused in this case, that is you and the 2 others, and especially when the 3 of them are totally separate and that common intention is not there at all, so Section 34 falls flat. So this clearly calls for a quashing of that case, and the High Court should have been cognizant of that, and High Court should have exercised its power under Section 482 CRPC. 226 comes much later. That is an inherent jurisdiction of the High Court. So that is a clear mandate from the Supreme Court.
Tonight,
and the most important point, Arnab, one more point, that a day in incarceration is one too many.
Yes.
That day in incarceration is one too many. So the court is clearly telling that do not shunt the litigants from one court to
I ask, some people feel, some people feel, there are some people with antediluvian thoughts. I think I saw Mr. Vaidyanathan there, but I want to ask you here. I'll extend the debate tonight.
Yeah.
They think, and let's show the pictures of their strategy, their mind, their thought, their intention. Rahul Narvekar, they think they will beat you, assault you, threaten you, show off their AK-47 guns, their pistols. They will drag you with your belt and beat you. But what if the paradox of life is, Rahul? Yeah, what if exactly? I can't see you on the screen, Saurav. I thought I saw Mr. Vaidyanathan also there, and you've not spoken. But yeah, Rahul. What now? My question is.
No, I think.
Yes, please. Yes, Rahul. Yes, Rahul.
Yes. All of us have concluded firmly that this is an action of a coward government, a government which does not believe, which cannot digest any kind of dissent, a government which cannot tolerate criticism, a government which believes in my way or the highway, a government that doesn't believe in the democratic principles set up in this country, and this is the action to the way you have conducted a fair reporting pattern in your channel. So I think the government stands exposed in this case, and this is a victory for the people of this country.
No, Rahul. Rahul, now I move away from the legal to the immediate. The pictures you are seeing there, I want to stay with the pictures, please. I want to show the pictures of what was happening around my house that day. On that house, I want to show the pictures of 4th and of 5th and of 6th and of 7th. And I shall speak over it. Viewers, these were commandos deployed at my house. There was an attempt at creating terror in my society building. Viewers, there were RAF commandos, there were battle-ready commandos, there were 100+ armed people who came to get me. 100+ armed people who came to get me. There was an attempt at showing off their power. Beat, assault, threaten, imprison, deploy, attack. Right? And what if, I ask tonight, what if, Saurabh, we come out stronger? What if we come out more determined after this? What if we come out more sure of ourselves? What if we come out armed with more facts? What if we do more? What if we don't stop? What if we don't stop? What is this pulling and pushing? What was going on? What was Pradeep Patil and Sachin Vaze doing that day? What were they following? What was this attempt at intimidation? What was this operation? I am told that there were meetings at the highest political level. And today I am told that there are articles written which says that the DGP of Maharashtra was not informed of this operation. Please see the article of Julio Ribeiro today, where it is told that the Director General of Police of Maharashtra was not informed of this operation. I am told, I am only reading what is said today, that this was an operation conducted in the highest level of secrecy between certain police officers and certain people in the state government. And I want to ask, what were they doing? Why did they do this? And this is the article, viewers. Please check and read. I don't agree with much of what Mr. Jubero writes, but at the end of the day, he's a responsible citizen and he's putting in a very important fact. Why? Is it true? Is it true that the Director General of Police of Maharashtra, and on this debate, Saurabh must debate this with Mr. Jain, was not informed that this was happening at some other level? So due process within the law and order machinery was violated to arrest Arnab Goswami? What is going on? Is this a world where no rule, no law needs to operate? Saurabh, are these not issues that you people, journalists like you, should now investigate?
Absolutely. Every journalist who values truth and freedom must speak out today, because this judgment is not about you alone. Arnab, it sets a precedent of sorts that no banana trial, no fake cases can be lodged against any citizen. This is a message coming from the highest court of the country. This strengthens democracy. Coming a day after Constitution Day, this also strengthens the Constitution. The basic tenets of Constitution were violated in the manner in which you were harassed, the pattern of harassment.